All right. All right. We live now. So, first of all, thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Grasshopper's Ear. This is definitely a special episode for me because if you've never watched the episode or don't know me personally, I love or enjoy learning new things that I'm not familiar with. So, if you never watched the episode before, my name is Justin, aka Grasshopper, and thank you for tuning in to Grasshopper's Ear. So tonight we have a special guest, one of my friends, Persephone, and we're going to talk about autism and the things that she's learned and the things that she would like to share with the audience. So without further ado, add on my guest right now. Hey,
Hey,
how are you?
I'm doing good.
How was your day? Because I know my day. Whew, how
I
was
know.
your day?
We went to the hiking bike, so I got a little exercise in and
I,
got some
I need to
sun
be
that
back
we
there
needed.
myself. Yeah, I haven't been on a hiking bike trail in a little while, but I definitely need to go back myself. Which one do you go to?
Well, I did the Folsom hiking bike. Me and Chaz put him in that wagon, and we went got some little exercise and sun. And but the one the is it by Westbrook, the bigger one. I'm like, I don't know if I'm ready for that one with
Mm-hmm.
him yet.
Yeah, I like going to both of them, and now that they building houses in my area, they got
hmm
a new trail because the houses are not built yet. So I go to that. I go walk that with Kylie and his little wagon.
Right, right. And it was so fun. Like Chance been out there before,
So it's
but I guess he haven't been there in a while. So I guess he thought he was like in a safari. He was like tigers, lions. I'm like, if they come out on this, we in trouble.
yeah, I don't need none of that action. They can
Right?
stay wherever they at. But tonight, well, actually, this month is Autism Awareness Month. So
Right.
one thing I share with you off camera is I don't know much about autism, so this is an
hmm
opportunity for me to learn and everybody else that's watching to learn as well. So if you whenever you tune in to this, if you have any questions or comments, definitely leave them in underneath this video because we can share and learn together. So,
Right.
my first question I have is, how did you feel when you found out your child had autism? Man, let me backtrack from that.
Okay.
Um, or let's introduce you right to the people. Your name is Persephone. You're married.
Yes. For Stephanie Broussard, I'm married.
Do you have any children?
Yes, I have three boys and a girl. My son Chance was the one that was diagnosed with autism. He's the baby boy, so um a lot of my discussion would be like based on my experience, with him and what I had to learn, and just basically like the journey, like just telling other parents about like early intervention and just educate themselves and advocate for their child.
Mm. Yes, ma'am. How did you feel when you found out your child had autism?
Um, I like before like we got the official diagnosis. Um, I kind of had a feeling like I didn't know much about autism. Like I heard people say like family member they kid had it, but I didn't know much about it. So Chance
Mm-hmm.
wasn't talking like he was struggling with speech and communication. So I just thought, he was struggling with speech. So he was in, private daycare and everything. And so when we were trying to move him up to his age level class. Of course, the kids were talking, they were, trying to play with him and to communicate. And it was real overwhelming for him. Like he was covering his
Mm.
ears. It was like he wasn't used to the environment, and it was like something else was going on. And I remember them, was asking like, "Hey, maybe talk to your doctor about autism testing." And I'm like, "Autism?" And so, like I said, of course, everybody. I googled it, and when I googled it, like most of the signs that they were saying, like I saw it, he had it. And so I called his pediatrician the next day, and they immediately sent the referral to Texas Children. And Texas Children called me the next day and was like, "Yeah, we got the referral, but there's a 2-year waiting list to test him." And I was like,
Oh wow.
"Wow, 2 years just for a test?" And so I called his pediatrician back, and I was like, "Absolutely not. Like, I cannot wait 2 years to see if there is something going on with him." So I'm like, if we have to drive like out of the state, go to Houston, Louisiana, or like wherever, like we got to get answers. So the
Right.
referral specialist called us back and said there's another place in Houston. They have a Sugarland location, a Katy location, and I believe a Woodlands location. And she said their waiting list was 7 months. And I was like, okay, I'll take that over 2 years. So,
Right.
of course, we got the testing done within that 7 month. That was January. And we went to a neurologist that did the test, and he did confirm he has high functioning autism.
Mm-hmm.
And I think at that time, like I said, I kind of in my mind, like I'm like, okay, I believe he have it. But hearing the neurologist confirm it, it brought tears to my eyes because it was like, okay, like now what? It's like man, like you don't expect your child to have this. And I got to thinking like, did I do something wrong? Like I felt like I had the best care, the best doctors,
Mm-hmm.
the hospital. And I'm like, what caused these? And the new his neurologist is great, and he was just like, you guys got, caught it early, like just early intervention. He was like, chance is gonna be okay, he's gonna be okay. And then he started asking me about seizures. And so on his paperwork and everything, so I was pretty confident, like, no, we don't have any seizures or anything like that. And so during a visit, he was like, because autism and seizures are like so close. He was like, we're going, because he's like, because he does have it, I need to test him for seizures. So they did a 30-minute
Mm-hmm.
EEG, and he passed it. And so he was like, I need you guys, and this was in Katy. He was like, I need you guys to come back to Katy the following week, and I need to do a 65-hour EEG where I need to monitor him during this
Mm.
time, his brain, just brain activity. And I'm like, I thought, to me, I
Mm-hmm.
thought all seizures look alike. So he was telling me like
Mm-hmm.
kids can have absent seizures. Like, he was like, do he have staring spells? He's like, they can last seconds, like within a few minutes. And I'm like, I never seen, any of this. And so when he did the 65-hour EEG, they called us back with the results, and he didn't pass. And he
Oh
said
wow.
that he was having abnormal brain activity that can cause a seizure. And I never knew. And
Mm.
so they immediately started meds, and they put him on seizure meds to stop the activity. And I was asking him, and we just got the results yesterday from his second EEG, and the activity has increased. And so, and I was asking him, it's like the activity like he's having, like we can't see it at all. And so,
Mm-hmm.
and that's one of the things like I would want to share or tell parents, especially if their child is diagnosed um with autism, because autism and seizures are, it's almost like they go hand in hand. It's like, just to rule out, seizures, like, get an EEG done on your child. Because if we would have waited and never got an EEG, he possibly would have went into and started having a full seizure. And so it was
Mm.
like I had to learn not only about autism, but I had to learn about seizures, because I'm like, I'm thinking like all seizures look alike. And he was like, no, do he have staring spells? Do he look stuck? And I'm like, sir, this is all new to me. And like, I didn't know any of this. And he was
Mm.
saying, yeah, he said that can be a seizure. And I started watching videos of how I joined these autism groups, how parents they were recording their child just doing different things, watching TV or eating, and like they look like they said stuck within seconds, like the mom was snapping and the baby didn't move. And then like all of a sudden it's like
Mm.
he'll come back. And I was like, now that I see it, I was like, I see what he's talking about now. And I was like, but I never knew that. I never knew that was a seizure. And so it's like he gave me so much information on it first visit. It was just overwhelming. It's like, okay, it's like I expected it, but it's like he confirmed it. And then, then he started talking to me, about seizures and all this stuff. And I'm like, whoa, I'm just here for autism testing. And he was like, yeah. And then we did genetic testing to see what else could be causing it. And he didn't pass that either. And I was like, wait a minute, like, I'm just thinking like this is an autism diagnosis. And he was like, we need to see what's causing it. So he got diagnosed with autism. He didn't pass his EEG. He didn't pass his genetic screening. And so we have to go to all these different specialists. He had to get an MRI done of the brain. It was like so much that we was having to do. And I'm just like, okay, like, good news coming. And he was like, and I'm thinking to myself, like, if I would have waited on Texas Children for my only option, I was like, what could have happened between that time frame, with him and everything going on with their saying, could, he having abnormal brain activities with him not passing genetics. I'm like, what could have happened within those two? Because he'll be 4 on the 12th of this month, and he would have just got diagnosed if I would have waited with Texas Children. And I was like, I don't know. And that's why I was like, parents like have to advocate, for their kids and educate themselves and really understand their child support needs. Because if they don't, you just take the diagnosis. And some parents feel like, oh, well, where do we go after this? What do we do after this? And it sometimes do feel like that, because they're like, okay, it's autism, put him in therapy. I mean, and he has speech therapy, occupational therapy, ABA, like so much therapy. And then you got it once you get these referrals, you're put on waiting lists. And thank God that we were able to get into therapy quickly without having to have a long
Mm.
waiting list. Because we would be struggling with him right now if we would not have the therapy, that because ABA therapy literally changed his life. Like, he was diagnosed nonverbal but also high functioning. So the high
And I wanted
functioning.
to ask a question on that
Hmm.
about high functioning, because I didn't know exactly what that meant.
Hmm. So The way like they was explaining, because I asked our neurologist the same thing. I didn't know. I was like, what does high functioning means? So when they diagnose a child with autism, they give them levels. And
Mm-hmm.
so the levels is their support. So like a child that is high functioning may not need as much support. So like, he can, well, at the time that he was diagnosed, he was like a normal 2 year old. He didn't require, like, he could walk, he can run, he can jump. He didn't need much support. The only thing the spectrum was affecting was his speech and social skills. So, and a lot of times, like, if nobody knows, they don't know he has autism. Um, like, autism don't have a look, and they, if I tell people, like, he's on a spectrum, they like, he don't look like he on a spectrum, like.
Mm-hmm.
But when you try to communicate with him, he struggles with social skills, he struggles with, speech and language. And um once he gets comfortable, or if he's excited, or he's happy, autism kids stem. So you may see, like, if they're excited or whatever, some kids, they may flap their hands. Um, if they have like an object or a toy that they like, they may spin it back and forth. Like, Chance stemming is jumping. He will literally jump in our couch. Like, as soon as he get from school, he jumps. That's his. He jumps and he hums. Since he's been more verbal, like, his humming has like calmed down, but he that's his thing. Like, when he's really excited, he's gonna jump. Like, he's jumping, he's excited. And so stemming is like their form of, showing their emotions. And you have to watch
Mm-hmm.
what their form of stemming is to make sure it's not harming them or not harming anyone else. Like, if they're banging their head on the floor, or something like that, like, you have to, watch what their stemming is. But his thing is, he loves to jump. Like, he would jump in our couch and tear it up, and he just jumps. And we let him stem. We let him be. The neurologist told me, hey, you have to live in his world. And we do. We live in his world. Like, we under I try to understand him as much as possible, so he can be comfortable at home, so we can, because it was a struggle trying to figure out how, what a nonverbal child wants, what he needs. It's like, um he may be crying, and I'm thinking he wants a cup, and he may not want a cup. And it's like, if they don't have any form of therapy, if he don't know sign language, if he don't know how to hand lead or point, it's just constantly trying to figure them out. And
Mm-hmm.
it would take a toll on the child, and it would take a toll on you, because you're like, the child getting frustrated, so you can get frustrated, and it's like everybody frustrated. So is that's why I was like, therapy, once you get your diagnosis, like, don't just, if they be like, oh, well, just go to this one place, that get on all wait lists if you have to. Like, try to get into any therapies that you can, because that early intervention works. Like, like, he's singing nursery rhymes now.
That's good.
Yeah, he's finally responding to his name. He'll tell you his name now. He can count. I mean, for a child his age, like, a lot of people, even I did, because when a neurologist told me he was nonverbal, he looked directly at me, and he said, listen to me. He said, just because that child is nonverbal don't mean he can't learn. He
Mm-hmm.
said, he can he may not be able to verbally count to 10. He said, but I'm telling you, that child, if you continue to count to him, if you continue to sing to him and read to him, he knows it. And he said, once he get into therapy, he's gonna, all those words and everything that he's been learning is gonna come out. And I didn't understand it a year ago, but
Mm.
I see exactly what he's saying now. Like he would like he I'll be counting and he'll just pick up. Like I'll go one and he'll go two, three, four. And he and before therapy, and he understands really good. That's why they were saying like he's high functioning, because I'll say like, hey, go get your shoes, and he'll go get his shoes. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but he couldn't respond back to me, but he understood, basic commands. And if I say, hey, time to go, time to, he would do it, or like bath time. But um he just couldn't respond. And if I didn't figure it out, he got aggressive.
Mm.
And that's what that's why I really had to get him into ABA therapy, because they can get aggressive. And a lot of the aggressiveness came from he was
Frustration.
frustrated. Yeah, it was
Mm-hmm.
like, and like the neurologist was telling me, he said, just imagine you need something or you want something and you can't tell anybody anything. And like, or if you heard it, like you can't communicate. It's like you cannot get it out. And I'm like, hey, you want this, you want that, and you just giving up, and you're first. And there's like, and at 2 years old, he would take that little arm and he would try to hit and bite. And you thinking as a parent, like, hey, like we don't do that. Like you, but he was like, no, you have to, understand that he's frustrated. We got to figure out, his needs and his wants. And as soon as we got him into therapy, his aggression came down. And I
Mm.
was like, I saw like everything his neurologist was explaining to us, like we see that happening now. And it's like he's so smart, and it's like his words and everything is like coming to him, and it's like he's already been knowing it. And I was like, because I was thinking the same, like, oh, he's nonverbal, he may not get it. He's like, listen to me. He's like, you would be surprised how many people that's on the spectrum, like geniuses. So it's it's just it's just learning them. They're so funny. They're so different. They learn different. Like they'll almost teach you about yourself. They'll give you patience. They just so, I mean, the way that they do things, like even with eating, like if you break his pizza and he
Mm-hmm.
don't have his crust first, he won't eat it. Like it's damaged. So
Oh wow.
yeah, like I mean, it's just the way their brain is wired. It's like they're totally, man. It's like understanding them. They, like I said, they'll teach you a lot. And so it's just learning. I think autism has been around for you. Like everybody knows. Like they say, everybody has been aware. It's now, I think, to the point of just learning to accept them. Like some people can accept, you know, a child being, at a party, running around, or a child stimming, like some people look and like, why is that child making that noise? Why is that child playing with the same toy over and over? Like that's their way of fun. They don't
Mm-hmm.
need anyone to play with. Like, he has his cars, his trucks, and he lines, like if one thing is missing, oh, he knows.
Mm.
He knows if it's missing. He lines everything up. He knows all his colors. Like it's like they're OCD. Like he knows everything. And so like you can't hide anything. He's super smart. So it's just like getting parents to just, it's nothing to be embarrassed about. It's like basically, don't wait to get your, if you know, especially if you have other kids, if you know that child is struggling with speech, with any little thing, just ask your doctor, because our pediatrician told us to wait. When I
Mm.
told him even about his speech, um around 18 months and 2 years, he was like, oh, he'll get it. He's like, he's still young, he'll get it. And I'm the type of person you can't tell me nothing like that. I mean, especially I have other kids. I'm like, because I'm gonna come back and say, well, what if he don't get it?
Mm-hmm.
So if he don't get it, then what? So like, what happens if he don't get it? And so he was like, he didn't have anything to say because I'm like, I rather rule out that this is not anything serious than you telling me, oh, he'll get it. And
Right.
so, and from that, he'll get it, he was diagnosed with autism and
Right.
seizure like activity. And because he didn't pass genetics, also, they were saying like it's some developmental concern. And so I'm like, so we if I just would have took his answer and just went on, oh, he'll get it, let's wait. If I just would have waited on Texas Children 2-year waiting list, like I would have, like I said, right now we would have been struggling with him because I wouldn't have been able to figure any of this out, any of it. Um, I wouldn't have been able to communicate with my child. I mean, he was in speech before his diagnosis, well over a year, and
Mm-hmm.
he was barely making sounds and he was doing more sign language. But it wasn't until he got into that full time ABA therapy, his confidence, his speech, and everything took off. And I'm like, and I just kept saying, like, if we wouldn't have, really advocated for him and pushed and like what are the options, well, like, okay, is Texas Children the only option for testing? Like, do parents really just wait on this one option? Because I wasn't waiting. Like, you can't tell me that this the only place that does testing,
Right.
especially if you have insurance. Like, if they tell you, okay, 2 years, okay, well, let me try UTMB,
Mm-hmm.
let me try another place. Like I said, we was willing to drive, um if we had to, out of state, because I'm like, I can't, you can't get help without testing. Like, you can't even put your child, like, you could do speech and OT, but in order to get him ABA therapy, I needed an autism diagnosis, and I couldn't get that if I was on that 2-year waiting list. And I'm just like, it's so crazy, like these waiting lists. And so I'm like, hey, get on everybody waiting list if you have to. If they
Right.
tell you, I mean, seriously, like for speech, OT, like this one got 3 years, this one got, get on all of them. Get for speech, ABA testing, do what you have to do for your child, because early intervention works. Like, we have seen a huge improvement in our child. It's just, literally, put advocating for him. Like, you as the parents literally will be their child advocate. You will be their parents. You will be their caregiver. Like, I had to quit my job because he's in so much therapy. And I said, if I get him in therapy now and, get everything under control with behaviors and speech and get him caught up, I won't have to worry about it so much later on down the line.
Right.
And that was my main thing. Especially with ABA. I don't know if a lot of parents know what ABA therapy is.
I was
Um,
gonna ask what that mean.
Yeah, so ABA is applied behavior analysis.
Okay.
So what it is and it's strictly for children that's on the autism spectrum.
Okay.
And so when I got the referral, I Googled it and I looked up, and you're gonna hear good and bad things about ABA. So I was like, well, I don't know. Maybe I'll just put him in preschool. Because when you think of behavior, to me, I'm thinking like, he's got to be really, aggressive, like bad. I'm thinking like, oh, he don't need this. It's not too bad, So I'm thinking behavior is just, I'm like, well, he may hit every now and then. He may bite every now and then. I'm like, I don't think he need that. So I don't know if you saw it, but I watched DL Hughley and his wife.
Mm-hmm.
they were doing a video about their son that's on the spectrum.
Hmm.
And
I did see it.
yeah, and he was saying one of his worst fears was that he was scared for his
That
black
been.
son.
Mm-hmm.
Growing up being on the spectrum, because like I said, they can be aggressive, and
Mm-hmm.
autism don't have a look. So I'm like, if you don't get these behaviors under control when they're young,
Right.
when they're 5, they're 10 or 15, if they're trying to slap somebody, if they try to hit somebody, nobody knows they're on the spectrum. They're going to be, oh, this black kid tried to hit me, or this, and it can become a problem. And you've seen before, police don't know how to handle kids on the spectrum. They don't know unless you let them know up front, like, we're dealing with a kid that's on the spectrum. They don't know. And so, and I when I saw that, and I said, okay, yeah, I have to get this under control right now, because I'm not just gonna have him and deal with him. Other people will have him and deal with him, and
Right.
you have to let anybody and that's why it's important to educate yourself too about your child needs, and um what they need, and how to basically live with them and communicate them. Because if somebody have to watch your kid, um if they have to, if you like, hey, can you watch them for the day, or can you watch them for the weekend, if they don't understand, your child needs and their wants, it will be a struggle for them. Like, we had a problem with him eloping. Like, if we left the garage open, and or if the gate was open in the yard, he would run out. um
Mm.
a lot of them don't have any fear of danger. Like, if a car is coming, they will run directly in the road. If, like, they don't have no. So that's why it's like, like, whoever's watching them, you have to let them know, like, hey, lock up. Don't, if they're right there, you have to, like, keep your arm by them, or because if they have a chance, like, if they see something that attracts them, they will run to it. Like, if somebody waved at them, or if anything that got their attention, that they will run off. And so, before, like I said, he started therapy, like, he would run off. So we had to add extra locks. We had to add, cameras, like, just secure our home, just to make sure, like, he don't get out, because he laughed, that he don't know. He's just thinking, like, oh, I'm playing and this and that, not knowing is dangerous. So, and that's another thing of behavior. That's what ABA can work on. That they'll work on them responding to stop, responding to their name, responding to just things like that. And that was one of my fears, is like, okay, I have to secure this home, because I don't want him running off. I don't
Right.
want him. Yeah. So I did, like, in a lot of this thing, like, I had to learn a lot on my own, because I didn't know. I'm, like, little kids run off you, but you call their name, they'll come back.
Right.
Most kids that's on the spectrum don't respond to their name.
Mm.
So he's just not responding to his name. So if you say, hey, Chance, come back, he's not going to respond to you. He's going to keep running. If you say, hey, come over here, he will not respond. And that's, one of the scary things that, you have to, like I said, you have to learn your child, and see, like, okay, he's not responding to his name. He's running off, which they call it eloping. And
Mm.
so he did, like, he'll, like, run, like I said, to the end of the driveway, or he may run to the neighbor's yard, and, like, he think it's a game. He'll turn around and he'll be laughing, and we'll just be running behind him. Or, you may see some parents in a store or the grocery store, if their child is running, and if they have a serious look on their face, like running behind their child, more than likely that kid is eloping, and they wish adult will stop that child and help them, like, hey, grab that kid, because they're fast, and they will keep running because they think it's a game, they think it's fun, and they're not aware of any type of danger. So it's it's just so much that you have to learn about them. It is so much that they do. Even with eating, like, he doesn't eat much. Like most kids, they may eat burgers, or like, it's literally maybe five things that he eats.
Oh
And
wow.
yeah, we buy a lot of protein drinks. Like, he has a lot of things. He deals with this the texture of foods, the sensory. So I even like with banana, like, he ate bananas for the first time this year. He will only eat apples if we peel them.
Mm,
Oranges, he'll touch them, but he's not gonna eat them.
mm,
So it's just, and even with that, like, we have a referral for feeding therapy. So, like, it's so much therapy, like, that they have to go through and that they need, because they deal with so much, and like things that, like, everyday, like, normal things for regular people. Like, you may get your son up in the morning, feed him, get him dressed. It may
mm,
not be that easy with us. Depend if he wake up and he's just not bored, you can get him dressed and he will take them shoes off, them clothes off, like, brushing teeth or combing hair, everything that will be simple for some, it is not simple for a child that's on a spectrum, especially if they don't want to be touched. They can't
mm,
handle, no one, brushing their hair, like haircuts. We, speak with the barber, like, hey, let us be the first or your last client, because we already know he's not for it. He is not for it. So you want, when you dealing with them, you want someone with patience and
mm,
understanding, that's gonna play with them, that's gonna be on their level. Like, hey, it's fine. Let's work on this, and just not just so aggressive. Like, sit down, get your hair combed, get, like, you have to, like the neurologist say, you have to live in a world, because if not, they don't back down. They're the most honest people ever. They like, they don't care about your feelings. They're gonna say, no, I don't want this, I don't like this, and that's how it is. And so it's like, you have to literally learn them, and be comfortable, and say, like, okay, you don't want to take a bath right now, but in 30 minutes we're gonna take a bath. They're very routine, so they know, like, okay, 8 o'clock, it's time to go take a bath. When he take a bath, he needs all his little ducks in the tub. If he
mm,
don't have his ducks, it bath time is ruined. Like, he's very, like, he has to have his toys. Like, if you put him in a tub without his little bath duckies, it's bath time is not fun today. And he was like,
mm,
what is this? So, like, they're very routine. Like, you can't, so, which is good, but it's like, if something changes in their routine, it's like, okay, hey, we don't go to school today. We're gonna do this. We're gonna, because they will look like, why we're not at school, why we're not at church. Like, they very routine. And so it's, my thing is, just to any parent that may have any type of suspicions with their child with this thing.
uh-oh. You're back. You
Oh,
dropped off for just a second.
oh, okay. Yeah, I would just say, just don't wait. Just don't wait. Like, even if it's nothing serious as autism or anything, just, or like they say, that early intervention. Even if you're, I believe the schools do testing on kids now. Um,
Mm,
like, at 3 years old, they have a pre-K program. If the school tests your child, go get private testing. It opens the door for you to get so much help. Um, they qualify for so much. And I didn't know this, and the doctors are not going to tell you this. And I had to learn this through a lot of autism groups. Even with if your child elopes, they qualify for a handicap plaque card.
Mm,
So, like if you at the grocery store or wherever, and if your child is running around in a parking lot, they would say, "Hey, we'll help you." And let you park closer with him if he's running off. So it is so much that even with diapers, like a lot of them, to me, I felt the hardest thing was how I'm gonna potty train a nonverbal child. I
mm-hmm,
just thought it was impossible. It's not, and it's like I said. As soon as he got into ABA therapy, and I told her one of my goals was I wanted to start potty training him. He'll take his pull up off and everything. I bought him some underwear, and as soon as he gets to therapy, they put him in underwear and he goes. And
mm-hmm,
I follow whatever he does at school. I follow at home. Like I said, that very routine, and he will be in underwear all day, completely dry. And so it's like I think I think it's like sometimes as parents we think like, oh, it's almost impossible. It's not. You just have to learn a different way, versus, when I was potty training chasing, I'll just say, hey, go tell me when you wet, or he can say tell me when he had to go to the restroom. But with Chance, he can't tell me. Like he'll say potty if I say it, but his way of letting me know, he will grab my hand and walk me to the restroom,
mm-hmm.
or like you have to watch the signs, or he will grab himself and and then walk you to the restroom, or something. Like I said, he's starting to say potty now, but a lot of it is we have to set a timer. um, and once the timer go off, we'll say potty. He says potty, and he goes. And every time we bring him, he goes. Like he doesn't give us any problem. And I was just thinking, like, man, I thought this was, almost
Almost
impossible to do.
impossible.
Yeah, and it's like just getting them in that routine, and it's like, even with washing hair, it was a struggle at first, but I had to do some accommodations. I had to order a shower cap for him. I had to order a little shower picture for him,
Mm,
and it's just like you just have to accommodate their needs to where they feel comfortable, because he was completely terrified of the shower. He didn't
mm,
want any water in his face. So, I'm thinking like, let me just wash your hair. He has a lot of hair. I ordered a shower cap where when I wash it, the water goes nowhere near his face. And it made it easier for him. And I let him play in the water and try to get him comfortable. Like I'll turn the shower on low and let him, hold it. So it's just you have to basically give them a lot of accommodations to make them feel comfortable, even at home. Like some people, and like especially parents, don't feel like a bad person if your child meal is fries, because that will very well be, especially like if you autism parent,
mm,
fries is a meal, chicken nuggets is a meal,
mm-hmm.
um maybe chips. Like his thing is anything crunchy. So that's just like you. I can't give him any mashed potatoes. I can't give him noodles and things like that. He won't eat it. And
Mm,
so they call it safe food. So they stick with a lot of their safe foods to eat. And so like we buy a lot of Pediasure, we keep his safe foods, and that's all he'll eat. And we try to, like, I'll still give it to him. Like he ate carrots for the first time, and I had to play a game with him, like orange carrots, because he loved colors. He
mm-hmm.
touched it, and he was imitating, like I'm acting like I'm eating a carrot. And he put it in his mouth, and he ate two, and was like, "Okay, that's it, no more." But I'm like, "Hey, you tried it,
Right.
So, like that's the thing. So I'm looking for in this area of like a feeding clinic. I don't know if we have one, but that's another thing we'll have to add to our schedule. But it's like if like your kid is just struggling with these things, like your doctor can give you referrals for this because they know these are things that occur with kids that's on the spectrum, and they need like a lot of therapy. And if you get it early, you won't have to deal with so much later on down the line. Because like I said, if I wouldn't have pushed for another center for testing, we would have just he would have just got his autism diagnosed this year. And like I said, I wouldn't have known about the seizure activity. I wouldn't have known about genetic. I wouldn't have known about none of that. So it's just like I mean, and it was crazy. Also, if you try to get life insurance on your child that is under the age of 4, and if you tell them that you have a child on the autism spectrum, they will deny your policy.
Oh
And
wow.
yeah, because they also know autism and seizures, like I said, kind of go hand in hand. And when they denied his policy, I was shocked. I was like, why would they deny his life policy? And it's because we told him he had autism. And they said most kids with autism have seizures. And I was like, oh yeah. I'm like, he never had one, but he have seizure like activity. And it was
Right.
like, that's why they denied his policy. So he couldn't get approved for a life policy into the age of 4.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I would definitely, just recommend that. Just, rule out any type of seizures because you want to get that under control. Because you don't want your child to have, you know, any type of seizures. And like I said, when I asked his doctor, like, is this like the activity that he's having is nothing that we can even see. Um, it's just his EEG is picking it up. And so it's like, I don't know much about seizures, so I had to learn, even like about the EEG testing that he had to do. He had to get an MRI of his brain because he didn't pass the EEG and everything. And so, like, it could take a lot on a parent. And I will also tell parents to find you a good support group
Mm-hmm.
and find friends. Like I said, if you don't have anybody that understands what you're going through, join those autism support groups. Because when your child, like, a tantrum, if your child is, having a rough day, or they sleepy, they just throwing a tantrum. And with a child that has autism and a meltdown, is completely different. They may
Mm-hmm.
look alike. So, if your kid is having a tantrum, and you may say, okay, get up, it's over with. But when a child on the spectrum is having a meltdown, it is not that simple. It like it may last for seconds, it may last for minutes. Like, it's just like they just feel like everything is just broken, like it's just over. And they don't care where they
Their
have a
world's falling apart.
yeah. Yep. Like when he finally started eating bananas, and he, wanted to peel it for himself, and the banana broke in half, he had a complete meltdown. Like, that banana was no longer
Mm-hmm.
good. And he didn't understand why he tried to put it back together, and he didn't understand why he couldn't. And he just completely laid out on the floor and cried. And
Oh wow.
to us looking at it, we look at it, you would think like, it's not that serious. It's not, but to them, it's a big thing. It was like, hey, this is serious to me. And so, um, it's like, and I had to learn, I had to understand it. I'm like, it may not be a big thing to me, but it's a big thing to him. And so I'm like, hey, like, it's not broken. So let's get another one. I gave him another one, and he was fine. And so it's like those meltdowns can take a lot on a parent. So that's why I was saying, like, hey, find you a support group, find you friends that understand what you're going through, that support you. because like mentally it's a lot, it's a journey. It is a journey, going through, with them, like learning their needs, learning their wants, like supporting them, advocating for them, like all the financial costs. Like it is a journey, like all these therapies like that he has to go through. um like just still pay, like Peter costs more than almost formula. Like it's a journey. And
Mm,
so it's like you need someone there, like, when your child just having one of those days, to just say, hey, it's okay, and parents, like, it's okay to take you a mental health day. Go get you a
mm,
massage, like go hang with some friends and do brunch while they're at therapy or something. Like you have to pour back into yourself so you can be strong for your child also. So like you have to always remember, like, I have to take care of myself so I can make sure I'm what my child would need. Like he needs he need both parents healthy. He needs both parents, in good spirits, because he lives for that. He lives to see, like, okay, my mommy's, gonna help me with this, that dad's gonna help with this. Like they need to see, their parents, or whoever's supporting them, healthy, and in a good mental capacity. Because like I said, it's some days it's hard when you first get that diagnosis and you don't know nothing about autism. You don't know what to do with a nonverbal child, and they aggressive, and it's hard. It's tough, but it can be. The days will get better each day. You got to take each day, and then just get them some help. Just get them in therapy, because it will get better. I mean, like I said, my child is like a complete different kid, so it will get better.
well, hey, I mean that's definitely inspiring to parents that especially just now getting a diagnosis for somebody that's actually going through it right now. So that's
Right.
definitely a good message to put out there for anybody that's going through it. And
Mm-hmm.
you basically answered a lot of the questions I had because I wanted to know, does it take a toll on you? We
Yeah,
talked about that already. We talked
yeah,
about, do you have any support groups? And so one of the things I wanted to ask is what how does the neurological how
neurologist.
yeah, that part. How does that factor in? Like, is it like? Can you explain a little? I know you're not a neurologist, but
Yeah. So, the place that we went to for testing, is called Think Neurology for Kids.
okay.
So what the neurologist does, they do a full evaluation, um, because neurology is dealing with the brain, and
Yes.
so au- autism is dealing with the brain. So so that's why they ask a lot of questions about seizures also. So once they do the full evaluation, they kind of see, like, you know what could be caught, like, is it like, does it run in a family? Like they try to
Mm,
figure out, like what is causing it. And so, um because it's like a developmental disability that's caused by differences in the brain. So I mean, they're like a developmental I have heard a developmental pediatrician can diagnose. um I'm trying to think of the other doctor I've heard, but to me, I would recommend. Oh, I have heard a psychologist can do it also.
mm,
Um, like I said, I would recommend a neurologist, because because autism and seizures, like I said, go kind of hand in hand. You want to rule that out.
mm,
Um, you want to rule out that your child is not having any type of seizures and nothing else is going on. And you could also do genetic testing. I didn't know, like, our first appointment, he was going over all this. He was like, you're going to get lab work, you're gonna get an EEG, you're gonna do genetics. And I'm like, wait a minute, like for autism testing. And
mm,
it was like, and when he's talking to me, telling me all this, I'm like, what is this? What is this? He was like, your child is high functioning. And I'm like, what does this mean?
mm,
And when he told me that, he was like, he's like, there's a lot of high functioning people that are very successful, and a lot of
mm,
people don't know that they're on the spectrum. He was like, look at Elon Musk. I don't know if people know that, but he's on the spectrum.
mm,
Bill Gates is on the spectrum. Isaac Newton, Albert Einstein. He was like naming all these people to us. And he was like, all these people are on the spectrum. And so the spectrum is like, it's not like a ruler, like you hear and you hear.
mm,
It's like a circle. So my child diagnosis, like I said, he was diagnosed high functioning, but he's also nonverbal. But I have also seen parents say their child was diagnosed nonverbal, but they're not high functioning, means
mm,
they need more support. And like I have heard, like, oh, your child automatically would be considered need lower like on the lower support if they're nonverbal. And I'm like, well, that can't be true, because like I said, my child was diagnosed nonverbal, but the spectrum affects people in different ways. So the neurologist was telling me, with Chance, like I said, he doesn't need any help. Like, he will go get what he wants. The spectrum is only affecting his speech, language and social skills. And I see is that, like, he doesn't have any problem, like his learning is fine. um Memory, the only thing he struggles with is his speech and social skills.
mm,
And so, versus if somebody else, may have a diagnosis, their child may be nonverbal, but they may need help, with other things. They may need help with, need help with walking, or need help with. So it's like everybody that get their diagnosis, because it's a spectrum, their support needs are all different. So, my child support needs may not be somebody else, support needs. They child may get diagnosed and be completely verbal, and could tell you what they want, when they want, or whatever. But that's not my child diagnosis.
mm,
So just because they're verbal don't mean they're not on a spectrum. And it's just, like I said, I love his neurologist. There He gave us a lot of information. We trust them. We trust his office. And he's, like I said, when he gives me stuff, I'm asking him, like, hey, what does this mean?
mm,
Like, telling them, because you have to learn it, because you're taking care of a child with special needs. And it's like you got this special package, and you got to do whatever you got to do to take care of it. And I'm like, every time he tell me something, I'm like, okay, doc, what this mean? What what
mm,
what I gotta do? What I gotta do? And I'll educate. I'll read. I'll listen to the parents' stories. I join, a few autism mom groups, and especially when I'm having a rough day, I'm like, okay, what I got to do here? And you'll go see, like, you're not the only one going through it. And you hear a lot of times people talking about, so many kids are getting diagnosed now. And I don't know, it's like, with us, it's like trying to figure, I think we're trying to figure out, like, what's causing it. And it could be genetics, it could be anything. But I was like, he has it, like, we love him, we don't treat him no different.
right,
And you know like his doctor say, he's like, hey, he's like, you do what you're supposed to do with your kid, and you get him in therapy. You guys caught it early. He's like, it's no doubt. He's like, he's gonna pass up all his friends. And you know, when you hear that and you see, you know, what you're going through, and I'm like, okay, but now like I said, I see what he was talking about, because he had to get firm with me and was like, listen to me,
Mm,
because he's nonverbal don't mean your child can't learn. He was
right,
like, you know, that don't think your child can't read, don't think they can't count. They just because they can't speak, that don't mean anything. And I
right.
was like, and when he told me that, I was like, I talked to him just like I talked to the rest of them, and it is paying off because he repeats after us. He, like I said, he can count, he can do. You ask him what this color is, he's gonna tell you. And so, I mean, I would just give any parent that, I mean, if you need a referral, try Think Neurology for Kids.
Mm,
They have one in Katy. They have one in the Woodlands, Sugarland. Like, just like I said, get on all the wait lists. If you on Texas Children, stay on that. Try Think Neurology. Try UCMB. Try all your options. Get on all of, because the faster you get your diagnosis, you get your help, it makes it easier for you and your child. And so, especially if you have more, you know, private insurance, like use your insurance, like get all the help you can.
that'll work right
Yeah.
there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what we ran out of time, but I got my buddy Chad in here. Hey Chad, I tried to alley oop you, man. I asked was she married. I was looking for, yeah, I'm married to this the most amazing man in the world and all that. Hey Chad, I tried to alley oop you, man. But real I really appreciate all the information. It definitely was a lot, and I
Yeah.
definitely see. Look, my boy, and I try to alley oop you, man. I try to alley oop, but I definitely hope anyone that's um anyone that's finding out their child has autism, or you have a relative, I hope something that was said today helps you, or helps you understand, because I know just in our community that n- people on the outside looking in may think you just have a bad child. They
Right.
don't understand that something is actually neurologically going on with that
Mm-hmm.
child.
Yep.
And the awareness part of it, at least for me, is
Yeah.
understanding that, hey, um, this is not how you communicate to this child.
Right. Right.
You gotta take it easy. Like, they understand you, they just processing a
Yeah.
little different.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
everybody wants to be accepted and included, so don't treat that child any different.
Right, that's all it is. Like, you know, it we everybody is aware. Autism has, like I said, has been around. The is now it's just acceptance, just getting everybody to, you know, that's all they want. They just to be
Hmm.
accepted, just to be included. And also we me and Chance got chosen to be on a documentary for autism
What?
on moms of Houston. So to tell a little bit more about our journey also. So that'll be coming around soon, and I'll let y'all know also.
Can I have your autograph?
Sure, no problem.
I appreciate it. He's so kind. But let's leave off with one final message to the parents that are just anybody that knows somebody with autism. What do you want to leave our audience with tonight?
um I think I would just leave with just I think my big thing is just early intervention,
Hmm.
and just being early intervention, being an advocate. If you got to question them, question them. If I don't feel comfortable with what a doctor is telling me, a
Hmm.
nurse, I will ask them what this mean, how, what, when. You, it's okay. I know they're the doctors, but if it doesn't make sense to you and you know what your child is doing at home, it's
Mm-hmm.
called developmental milestones for a reason.
Right.
If you know your child is not hitting those developmental milestones, then if your doctor is saying, checking off on that kid paperwork saying, oh, he's fine, or she's fine. Well, you're saying she's fine, but they can't speak in a complete sentence. How
Right.
are they fine and they're struggling to eat food? How are
Right.
they fine? And just things like that. I mean, that's how I am. I will go to my doctor and I'm like, he's telling me, oh, Chance is fine, he'll get it. How?
Mm-hmm.
When? And I'll tell him. I say, so what happens when he don't get it?
Right.
And it's okay. As a parent, you have to be like that, especially with a child with special needs. You have to be firm, you have to advocate for them. And it's the times when you doing this, you may get emotional. Like every time I talk to the neurologist, I'm in tears, but it's like after I get him out, I'm like, okay, I'm strong now, but I'm gonna cry, but I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
get it. But after that, I'm like, okay, I got it out. But that's just because it's a lot. But you have, I mean, because your child needs a parent like that. They need you to say, to fight for them, to advocate them. So it's like you can't, sometimes you can't just take the first answer. Like, okay, well, let's wait to see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, even if they're sick, like, if you need to question them, or whatever, do what you got to do for your child, because it will make y'all life so much better.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you would thank yourself, like, I'm so glad, I questioned this doctor, because like I said, when I told him, oh, well, what we're waiting for? Let's
Mm-hmm.
work this out now. It's not gonna hurt to get tested. It's like I said, it's a test. Like, let's rule this out.
Right.
And like I said, they immediately sent the referral over, but they had a 2-year wait. I'm not waiting on that either.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not, like I said, I could have took that 2 year. Nope, I'm going somewhere else. And if I gotta go somewhere else, I gotta go somewhere else. So just, like I said, just especially if regardless of the age, push for your kid, be an advocate, be firm, be understanding, and just have acceptance, because that's what they need. They need someone to advocate them. You're their parent, and you're also going to be their advocate. And if you don't know, if you don't understand, if you're just taking the first things people's like, you're going to have to educate yourself, and you're going to have to understand, because even like I had to understand what ABA therapy. When I went to ABA center, I asked them, what y'all do here? Like,
Mm-hmm.
what y'all gonna be doing with my child?
Right.
Like, I need to view the center. I need to understand what y'all doing. Because this is all new to me. And I mean, I don't have no problem asking. I don't have, like, hey, that's what these kids need.
Mm-hmm.
So, continue to love them, accept them, don't treat them no different at all, because
Right.
they know, they understand. And I mean, they the most loving. they're they will love you, like, all the kids are loving. But I mean, he's so aggressive, he come give you these big tight hugs, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, wait a minute. But yes, definitely, just early intervention. Don't be scared. I mean, it's hard to hear, if they confirm it, but you just gotta put your tough skin on and, like, hey, we, pray, keep God first, keep your faith, and um we can do this. We can get through this. Get your village, get your church behind you, um get your family, your friends, your support. And like I said, it's for your child. Like, you have to do this for your kid.
And that you can't sum it up any better than that.
Right.
I want to thank you again for joining me. I definitely hope something that was said is encouraging to anybody that has a loved one with autism. And with that being said, we definitely we can do this again anytime because this
Right,
is not Autism Days, Autism Awareness Month. So
right.
if anybody had any questions that they didn't get a chance to answer live, we can definitely come back again and do it again.
Yes, yes, definitely. So, um, to all my autism moms and families out there, y'all, we got this. If y'all need places for speech, OT, ABA, I don't mind giving y'all information that I know of. I don't mind sharing where we got our, like I said, y'all can try think neurology, because I rather see people get the help they need for their child
Mm.
so they can live a better life. And so anytime y'all need any information regarding that, like I said, for speech, OT, anything, the places that I know of, I don't have any problems giving y'all that information.
With that being said, I hope everyone has a good night and a great tomorrow, and we'll see y'all next time.
All right, bye.
Yeah.